Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I think we're doing the koi fish number 2. We already did number 1. These do have codes on them. You have to turn it to the side that says CEUKCA and then look for anything that looks like a pencil mark. So this one that's on the stone part, according to the guides online at Meeny Miny Mo, that should be the koi fish. So let's open it and take a look and see if it's accurate. Okay, let's see. Yep, I think it might be right. I see the rocks and you can tell the bowl is round. That's cute. It comes with a wooden base to set it on and then an order form. Those have came with some of them in the past. It's kind of funny, the little invoice. What else do we have? Some plants. I always try not to rip this paper, though I don't really do anything with it. I think it's cute. Like the nice flat base that has. And it's a little bit of pink and yellowish. That's very cute. Of course, we have the koi fish, which looks a little bit different than the one we had. If you missed that one, you'll have to go back and watch that build because it was super cool. And resin. Ew, it feels sticky. Well, maybe not too bad. I think it's fine. There's a lot in there. And then I think we have tongs in here. And this, sometimes people don't know what these little feet are for. It clips into this white part here to make a shelf. But I have 20,000 of them, so I won't be using those. But let's clean up and get to building. So here's what it's going to look like on the checklist. The plant is going to stick out a bit, and it shows a lot of rocks in there. I feel like the instructions are a bit confusing. Tells you to add the rocks, the fish, the plant, then the resin, but only to right here. That way you can cure it and try to prevent air bubbles once you clear that rock area. And then you fill it up the rest of the way with resin and then cure it again. So we shall see. I don't know if I want to do it like that. I was kind of trying to think of other ways that might be easier because sometimes the instructions aren't the best, but let's see. The center part where the circle is, it kind of sits up. As you can see, it comes in here. So if I have that there, that's going to be sticking out anyways. Maybe that's what I'll do. There's this lip down here that goes around that circle. Maybe I'll fill just that area with rock and then add a little resin so I could secure these there and then fill the rest of the way with rock to hide the roots and the bases. Let's try that. Let's see. So I'm gonna open this first. I just started dumping it in here and realized that I wasn't recording. So I just dumped them in and I'm kind of scooting them. I think I could add some more to completely fill up that area. Because that's where the air bubbles are going to come from. They're going to sneak up from between the rocks. They also can just appear out of anywhere, but I think that's probably pretty good. So I hate that they didn't give us a nozzle, but I think it might be okay. I got these when they were buy one, get one free, so technically I do have a second one of these if this happens to go south. But let's start adding the resin. Okay, let's open this. Should have some of this left too, and that's my favorite when we have the clear stuff left over, because you can always use it. So I put a big dollop there. I might try to have it run a little bit to the rocks. If I had a nozzle, this would be a lot better, but maybe if I let it sit for a little bit, it'll kind of come off that shelf. I got my favorite tool, the toothpick, and I don't really want to stir it up because that will also make bubbles. But I'm just dragging it over the top of the rocks. That way it'll hopefully make that barrier right on top to kind of seal it in. I've also heard if you warm up your resin, it could help prevent bubbles, but I haven't tried that. Maybe I should. But also, if you take your time and do it like carefully and well thought out, typically it's okay. I also like letting it set for a long time, just so anything that is under there will kind of rise up and then you could pop them. So I'll let this set for a minute. Then we'll add the fish and the plantain and cure it for part 1. All right, so that's sat for a moment. I'm just going to place this in here. That's gonna be difficult to get rocks behind, I feel like. But also you don't really want to put it in the center either, because then there's no room for the fish. You know what I mean? I guess we will just have to make it work. I guess I could sprinkle some behind there now. It's also probably not a deal breaker. If you can still see the root, that might look cool. But let's just add a little bit, a little avalanche back there, and then we'll scoot it back up to the wall. Yeah, kind of works. Let's take our fish and add that. Oh no, oh no. There's really not much space to work with up here, if I'm being honest. But make sure you have him where you want him. I think that's cute. It looks like he's going around the flower. I'll be able to show you a better angle once I cure it so he doesn't fall. But I think I will also add a couple rocks now. And though I don't have hardly any resin in here, I could see a little bubble coming up in between the rock. And then again, I'm gonna sprinkle just a little bit, and then I'll probably add some more here in a minute, just so that they're stuck down. And then with my wet toothpick, I could kind of move them and place them where I want them before curing them. I sprinkled some on the top. I don't know if I'll add more, but I'm gonna cure it. That way I could show you a better view, and then we'll go from there. I might do a couple more layers. I'm not sure. We'll see. So here's what it looks like. I cured it, and then I also flipped it like this and cured it because you could see little bubbles at the bottom, and I didn't want that to potentially sneak up. Hopefully it still won't, but you can see the root a little bit, but more so like from this angle. So I think I'm gonna put some more rocks over here to build it up, which it'll be hard for me to show you that from the side, because then if I tilt it, they'll spill everywhere. And then we will fill up the rest of the way with water. It looks like they filled it up essentially to the tippy top. So, so far it's pretty cute. Let's see what we can accomplish with the rocks. You can bend the flower up a little bit and sneak some back there. But then if we do get bubbles, it might come from that area since we're adding rocks. That's actually pretty cute. I might sneak just a dollop back there to kind of seal the top of that. I don't know if I can do that though with the leaves being in the way. Yeah, maybe not. We're gonna risk the biscuits, as the kids like to say, so. Let's just dump it in. And then I'll let it sit probably for 10 minutes or so to see if any bubbles work their way up. And then I'll put it under the lamp. I have a little standalone lamp that if you hold it down, it's on a timer, and it will go continuously for 90 seconds if you like hold it down, do like a long pause. Just realized that I shouldn't have poured it there because that flower is above the top and it's gonna have like a wet look. Maybe that's not super important, but avoid putting resin on the parts that are sticking up if you don't want it to look wet. But big dollop added. And I'll look it over real well, make sure all the rocks are where I want them. I can move some in the back if I need to. And still I could add a decent amount. I might actually use most of this. I'm not sure I'm going to have too much left over. Alright, I think that's about good. I'm going to let it set, then cure it, and I'll be back to show you the final product. Couple things. I should have paid attention where the seam is and not put the fish there. So heads up if you're building this one. The resin or the glass did get a little cloudy over here. It's not as clear as it sometimes is, but there are some very tiny bubbles, which are fine. But I did notice there was one under here. And I tried popping it, would not pop. And you can see it's still like trapped under there. It's not fully cured though, it doesn't look like, but the top is. So maybe I can get it to cure like that under that leaf. It got stuck under the leaf, and no matter what I did with the toothpick, it wouldn't pop. So I knew there was going to be a bubble, but just luckily it's on the back side where the plant is, and it's gonna be facing this way because we wanna see the fish. So still pretty cute, and then you could put it in the stand. Very adorable. I hope in the future they do an aquarium series because that would just be so fun, and maybe make the tanks a little bit bigger. If they make the tanks bigger, then it'd be easier to avoid some of this stuff, I think, because there's just not much to work with up here when everything's kind of crammed in there. That's just my opinion, but let me know what you think. Did you find this one? Did you find the other one? What's your favorite from the series? And as always, thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.